So everything changes in time, but time never changes.
There's so many planets, there's so many galaxies, there's so many continuums. There's no way that we're not.
It's science, dude. You gotta learn big words.
Yeah. So I mean,
Absolutely.
like somewhere in infinite, there's got to be something else.
Yeah, you
Like,
gotta
oh, don't go here.
Yeah.
We went down a journey. We went to Egypt. We went to before Christ. We went to Constantine. We went to all over the place and then came right back to it is your vibration, it's your meditation, it's the people that you surround yourself with. Hey guys, welcome back to the ADHD Express podcast. I'm your host, Brian Carlson. I've got a great episode planned for you guys. You might remember John Bennett from episode 4. Well, we were so interested in learning about ancient Sumerians, meditation, and life as a tattoo artist that we had to get him back. So I hope you guys enjoy this episode of the ADHD Express. Well, hello, I am Brian Carlson. This is the ADHD Express. Thank you for joining us and welcome. Welcome. So, go through the introductions as always. We have Joe Osmond, and we have DJ, and we have our wonderful visitor, John Bennett, who is returning for us again. John, thanks for coming, man. So did you go to the gym this morning already?
Oh, yeah.
What'd you do?
I did back.
Sucks. Back's always hard. It's
It
hard.
is,
Nobody
man.
really
It's
notices
always
it until
pull-ups and just
you're in
stuff
the gym with no shirt on or
I
a
do
tight
this-
t-shirt.
So when I go to the gym, I do the stuff nobody else wants to do. I don't see anybody else do. I like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like it gives me an edge or something, but it's probably just, dude, I probably couldn't even have heard that. That sucks. But anyway, yeah, when I'm at the gym, when I walk in, I look for the person working out the hardest, and then I try to double time his workout.
I've done that before.
Nice.
Every time, though, every morning.
Oh, that's. You like a challenge.
I'll leave the gym if people are just sitting there on the phone. Like, I'll turn around the parking lot. Like, I'll scope out like it's a drive-by viewing to see if anybody's even working out. For real.
Really?
Yeah, I feel like a vibe there. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
my time.
It's like
I
a
go in
rest
there,
energy.
and if
That's how
everybody's
I-
just sitting there on the phone, I don't even want to be there.
Yeah.
They're just hanging out around machines. Dude, that drives me
John,
crazy.
that is exactly how you deal with a craps table.
Yeah.
You know that?
Yeah.
A craps table. You're cruising through the casino. You
Yeah.
got to make sure that you're looking for a table that's already vibing
All
and
right,
jump
all
in on
right,
that stuff.
all right.
Jump in on that energy.
I get it. That's how I am
Bro,
at the
that's
gym.
how you make money at
Makes
a
sense.
casino.
Makes sense. You
Vibing.
pick up that vibration, you just go with that. You know what I mean?
That's kind of crazy. So vibration, you're right. So every time we're all saying, "Oh man, just vibing," that's vibration.
Dude, you're talking
about,
science.
Right? You're talking
Quantum
science.
physics, actually.
Yeah. So before
What
you
you
guys
talking?
got here, we were talking. Oh, I should have written his name down because I forgot.
Joe Dispenza.
Joe Dispenza.
Definitely, you get a chance to do any of his meditations. Brain, heart, coherency. If you don't do them, you're missing out. If you're a meditator, for sure. You know what meditation means in Tibetan?
Tell me.
It means to become familiar with. So if you're meditating, who are you becoming familiar with?
So.
Oh, man.
Hey,
Dun,
Joe,
dun, dun.
D, do you guys meditate?
I do, yeah.
Like regularly?
I try to when I can remember, but because
Yeah.
things are crazy, but like
Get it?
those moments that I do just pull myself aside and I focus on nothing, or at least I try to. And like, I don't know, it's really hard, especially for me.
Yeah.
But like, the more that I do it, the more that it helps me slow down from this. I'm trying to be this far out, but it brings me back to like, okay, this is where I need to be right now. And that's what I really enjoy about it. But
I believe that's the whole point, is to center yourself. So the past is known. The future is predictable. So they're both known. So the only unknown is the ever-present moment. It's in fixation and you can't grab it. Before you can say, oh, there it is. It's gone. The present's gone. That's eternally in fixation, by the way. Time always. So everything changes in time, but time never changes.
yeah.
You're literally.
I guess that's
So quantum physics says, this is quantum physics, by the way. They say that your consciousness never moves. It propels the astral plane around you.
They have things that
They've proven
back
it, dude.
that,
It's like
yeah.
it's like proven science, dude.
Yeah,
That's just not the
conscious-
crazy
conscious-
So you guys hang on one sec. So last time we had John on the show, Daniel had pointed out that we like ADD daylights out of that thing, and we touched on like 17 major topics and did not pause. And Daniel was having technical difficulties and was not able to participate, and was like was really bummed out about it. So Daniel, I'd like to invite you to go ahead and say, well, what do you mean?
Yeah, I mean, elaborate on that. I mean, we were kind of talking about it a little bit earlier, but like they do have like evidence in things that show.
So there's lots and lots and lots of brain scans out there that they've done that show what meditation actually does for you. And well, with that doctor I was talking about earlier, he's got over 8,500 brain scans.
Yeah, that's
right
crazy.
now. Dude, you can look that up. Joe Dispenza, he's got 8,500 brain scans.
And so, what do you mean by brain scans?
So
I guess?
they
for those of us who aren't,
so they
into,
put them in a
quantum
meditative
physics
state compared to a regular state, and then they put a brain cap on you and test your brain waves in a meditative state and in a regular state. So when you go to beta from theta,
and what is
something? It's a brain wave. It's
Okay,
how your
cool.
brain. It's actually the levels of your brain waves. So when you go to beta in a meditative state, it's in this. He explains it so much better than me, dude. You know what I mean? It's
Oh,
hard
I'm
to
sure. No,
explain.
no,
It's
I'm sure.
science,
Well,
dude.
like,
It really
and
is,
how many-
dude. It's
how
hard
many-
to explain.
This is a good time
but
for
it makes
people.
sense. So when you're just regularly walking around, 95% of your day, you're on autopilot. Okay. And if your body is conditioned to negative thoughts and you're on autopilot, you'll conditionally think about negative thoughts all day long. 95% of your day, you'll be caught up in your head. That's why a lot of people don't succeed. So we were talking about the predictable future and the past known. So the unknown is only found when you become nothing and nobody. And that's in a meditative state. Because then everything will connect, your heart and your brain will start working together. And it's all done through breathing, dude. I'm telling you, anybody can do it. Everybody's like, oh, I can't meditate. Dude, if you learn breathing techniques, anyone can go there. Anyone.
Yeah.
Practice those breathing techniques.
It's a physical thing
It
too,
is.
because when you breathe, science has shown that when you breathe in ways that are healthy and things that are controlled,
Absolutely.
it helps.
Agreed.
It helps release endorphins in your body that help your body to relax.
So when you get mad, your body releases cortisol for 7 hours.
Really?
Proven fact. That's science. It's a proven fact. So and that's so when you get mad in your mind, your body doesn't know the difference from the action and a thought.
Yeah.
Remember that. Huh?
Bring your mic with you when you talk to Daniel.
Oh,
would you? Yeah.
with me? Okay.
yeah.
Yeah,
Just
so-
grab that sucker and move it around. Don't be
All right.
shy.
Yeah.
We don't want to lose this, John. You're amazing.
So
We love
your
talking about it.
your thoughts
Been doing a lot of research.
determine what your body does. And if your
Yeah.
thoughts are plagued 95% of the day with bad thoughts on autopilot that you've conditioned throughout your life based off post-traumatic issues from your past
Sure.
that you don't want to get over,
Right. Well, and that's
or you
pretty-
do want to get over it, you just don't know how.
Yeah.
Right.
It's
Or don't
processing
remember.
it. It's thinking it through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is so.
Yep.
Well, and it goes to, I mean, that brings up like that thought of that study that they did on marathon runners,
Yeah.
where they took them and hooked them up to the brain thing, and they were analyzing just like what their brain does when they're running, and then they analyze them just thinking about running, like closing their eyes and imagining that they were
Intent.
running.
Right? Intent.
They couldn't tell the difference. Like the brain triggered all of the same things as if they were actually running that marathon, even though they were just imagining themselves running it. So, I mean, that speaks powers to like your brain can't tell the difference between that thought and that action.
You can literally prove it with water. So there's an ice test you can do. So get some distilled water. You have some?
Oh yeah.
So get some clear glass trays and put good intent on one of the glass trays of ice that you're going to freeze, and then put like mad intent on the other one, and then freeze them at the same time. It
Really?
will be distinctively different.
Huh. Interesting.
I promise.
Just because of the energy that you
Because
put
the
out there.
energy
Put
that you
intent on
charged
it.
it with.
Yeah, you're
So,
charging
you know,
it with
hang on,
intent.
so
you are. And if you do it
there's-
right, then yeah.
There's all kinds of actually studies and
Yeah.
evidence like that. And here's the thing: I was
Absolutely.
talking to, who might have been a podcast I was watching with somebody, Jordan. I might have to try to figure out. But they were talking about right now that kind of one of the biggest issues facing us is the dissemination of information.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like there's such a backlog
Oh, dude.
on these studies, and like there's a lot of stuff that's known, like hundreds of thousands of studies that are absolutely critical to everything that we think we know, and it's going to change a lot of what we know. And they're so backlogged that nobody knows about it.
Yeah.
So years ago, this is probably, honest to God, you guys, this is at least probably 13 to 14 years ago. I learned this information. A friend of mine had a friend who was really smart and went off to Harvard. And when he came back, he had made a kind of a pit stop to see the old crew here in Cache Valley, right, before he headed off to wherever it was he was going to solve the world's problems. But he kind of quantum physics, stuff like that, and he participated in a study. Supposedly, they tested like matter or vacuum space, right, with
The
energy.
void.
Kind of like kind of
gotcha.
like they basically, so they create like a vacuum chamber when you monitor it. There's really nothing there, but there's like some stuff, energy that's not really positive or negative or neutral, just kind of there. And if you introduce, human DNA, it takes on the same energy. And then if you take it out, that energy stays there.
Yeah.
And so they had a test where they have done, and this report or this test that this guy participated in, said that it's been a long time since we got to sit there and watch it. He had this video, a DVD that we watched on the computer, and like it was like the lectures and stuff. It was pretty crazy, but yeah. So then the military had done some of these testing as well, according to them, that they had been done the similar tests where they take this vacuum chamber and they introduce this person's DNA, and then they separate the person by states, thousands of miles, right? And then start conducting tests on that person, and the DNA in
Quantum
that tube
entanglement.
changes
Yeah,
with
quantum
that
entanglement.
person,
Quantum entanglement.
right? As they go through stressful
Absolutely.
and the different emotional states
Do you know
that
what
you
they
were
do?
talking about.
What they do is they take the atoms. So they take atoms, right? And they'll separate those atoms, or they'll take molecules and they'll
Yeah.
separate them into atoms. Okay. And then they'll take one set of atoms and put intent on it. And then this is how we're getting pictures from Mars, by the way, by atoms in the middle of the universe, processing information. That's why we get instant pitch. I'm serious. That's how they're doing it. I watched a whole thing from NASA. They're
Quantum
using quantum
entanglement.
entanglement. So every
Yeah.
time it takes a picture, so what it does is these molecules, when they change, these ones change instantaneously. It doesn't matter what side of the universe they're on.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Instantaneously.
And every particle is entangled to another particle. So if you can get the two that are entangled, and then
Oh, man.
anything
See,
that
this is
is
stuff
done
that's-
to
Now,
one
it's
is
science.
immediately
Yeah,
This
done
is
to
science. So they are
Right.
using.
Obviously, they're doing it.
They
but
are
again,
doing
that's
it.
the whole. We can't
Yep.
get the information. It's not available to. And
Yep.
if you start trying to Google this stuff, like it's kind of hard. It's kind of vague,
It's
right?
science, dude. You got to learn big words.
Yeah.
Dude, some of that stuff, I was like, oh, dude.
Well,
that's
and
gonna
that's
take
John.
a minute for
Oh,
me to
yeah,
figure
there's a
out
good-
that
there's
one,
a
dude.
Google
I
trip
understand
right
the
there.
process because you got to look at science process is what you have to understand to read.
So,
that
and I got to
stuff.
talk. So, John, I've known you a long time, and like you've been on this journey now for almost a decade.
Yeah.
I mean, wouldn't you say about all this kind of stuff? Wouldn't you say almost a decade?
Dude,
or
I
not
don't
quite?
even know, man. I think just recently some things have happened where like it's just completely
Well, so I would say
changed.
the
Like,
last 5 years
yeah.
for sure, you
Oh,
have
yeah.
focused on meditation. I mean, you have been focused on meditation and then learning all
well, the
this
last
kind of
year,
stuff.
man. So last summer, I sat in my backyard and I was like, man, I'm going to learn how to meditate. And I didn't know what I was doing. I was like, I don't need no guide. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I sat out there every morning for like 2 weeks, dude. And I was like, man, when is this going to happen?
Yeah.
you know? And I was like, man, I better do a guided one. And I put some headphones on and I kind of got into kind of a state, you know what I mean? I was like, that was kind of cool in my head. I'm going to do it again. And then I started reading a lot of things from this other scientist, doctor, who, his name's Stephen Greer.
Yeah.
Do you guys know who that is?
Stephen Greer, yep.
Stephen Greer.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
He's got all
So-
kinds of stuff.
You know,
On
do you know
this
Sam Harris by
YouTube video,
chance?
he does this thing. It's called a puja, right? And he chants and like he has you in a meditative state. And that was the first time I really felt what meditation was like. I felt like I was drawn to it. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like my energy was drawn to it.
Yeah, you're able to focus
Absolutely.
on it. and-
Yeah, so I've never been
Absolutely.
able to pull that meditation thing off ever.
I didn't think I was, dude. I just told you I sat out there for weeks.
Yeah,
But I
know.
wanted to see what it was like because earlier in life, I was like, man, only hippies meditate. I was so stuck in the material world because that's what this is, by the way,
Mhm.
is the material world. So when you start to look at yourself and go into a different world, you'll find yourself.
And I was gonna say, so like for your meditation, like, would you say that like it's almost like feeling that you're in that state before, like you almost have to feel like you're in that state, whatever state you're looking for in your meditation,
Gosh, no,
And-
dude. It's like
then you kind of move into that.
oh man, I think with meditation, you attach to a vibration that you're trying to grab out of the universe.
Yeah.
That's what I think meditation is.
Oh, it's the law
I
of
really do.
attraction.
So,
at its
man,
state.
I was just watching this other scientist, man, and he was saying that every cell on your entire body has 4 antennas on it. You're covered in cells. And he says those antennas pick up what?
Each
Frequency.
A radio frequency. You are literally the TV set, and the creator is the frequency, in my opinion.
It's how they're.
Literally.
It gets
And
kind of
that's science. That's
interesting when you
proven.
get
That
down
is
to the
proven science. That dude is on Gaia. Do you guys watch Gaia? Yeah, when he said that, dude, I had to pause it. I had to rewind it and hear it again. I was like, "Are you serious? Like, is nobody hearing that? Like, you're covered in cells, dude. Your skin, your hair, you are cells made up of cells.
Well, yeah, so that's what I thought when you said cover. Well, you
And
are
the antennas are on the outside of the cell.
It's so
Do you
crazy
see what
because
I'm saying?
everything
Yeah.
at its base
Whoa,
comes down
dude.
to frequency in every
Yeah.
part of our world. It's how we perceive our world.
These are the same scientists that are saying that you are a beam of light being passed through 11 dimensions that casts a shadow on this earth. They say.
Yeah, well, I mean, quantum physics. I feel like quantum
We-
physics
we
and
live
quantum
ourselves in a
mechanics.
3-dimensional world, right?
Yeah.
And like a 3-dimensional world, they have, I think it's 193 potential dimensions that are plausible, and then we have already 7 that are 100% confirmed. There's no way that they're not.
They say that there's 11.
Oh, it's 11.
They said
You're
that
right.
there was 11 11 different dimensional light has to be casted for a 3-dimensional realm. That's what they said. That's what I read.
Oh,
So 11 different angles of light creates your 3-dimensional realm, basically,
Yeah,
oh,
which makes sense, right?
yeah.
it goes.
I know it messes
so
my head
crazy.
up so bad. I'm a tattoo artist, dude. When people sit down with me, I bet they walk out of there like,
Who is this?
dude, I bet
What is he talking
I guarantee it, dude. I bet it's pretty funny. If there's anybody out there watching that, you should say something about it. If you've
Well, yeah,
heard
that's a
me
great
ramble
time, you
getting
guys. If
tattooed.
you're into this stuff, if you have never heard of this
Yeah.
before, man, give us a comment. Let us know because
Yeah.
you guys, this is all new to me as well. Like these guys have heard about it. You know, Joe and Daniel are
well, it's
familiar with
real.
these
It's
topics,
it's.
and I'm not, man. So yeah, it's
I
pretty
say do
fascinating.
your own research for
Yeah.
sure,
That's
Oh,
the
yeah. Have you
biggest
heard of
Look it
thing.
Sam
up.
Harris?
huh?
Yeah,
Sam Harris.
and
I have
also
not.
when you're looking it up,
He's a
don't
really
just
good
go
one.
Yeah.
look at
But,
people.
He has a very
Like, don't just go look at whatever. Like, go look for the real information
Oh,
on
yeah.
it. Like, there's data. There's
Beautiful,
hard proof.
beautifully said.
If you go
Yeah.
look at what people are saying about it,
Beautifully
they
said.
interpret it in their own way.
Sure,
Like,
absolutely.
if you go, but you can go find the actual source material that shows how some of these things work.
So with Joe Dispenza, we were talking about him earlier. So a lot of his peer reviews, you just look them up in the Southern California University Library.
Okay.
Yeah. There's some of his brain scans that prove science. Dude, I was watching this thing on there because he has like testimonials. You should look that up, man. Whoa. So me personally, I've been doing those same brain heart coherency meditations for about a month now.
Okay.
No, it's getting different. Everything's getting different. Yeah. Everything. I don't focus on so much badness. You know how a lot of times you'll walk through everything and just focus on the negative. The most negative thing could happen out of any situation.
Oh, and
right?
it's because you
Who doesn't do that? Who doesn't do that? I know a lot of people that do it. Raise your hand. I do it.
I've done it.
I do it.
Yeah.
A lot of times you focus on the negative more than the positive, especially if you're on autopilot.
Yeah.
But if you can retrain your thoughts to be on the positive note on autopilot, like he teaches in those brain heart coherency meditations, now you start focusing on love, gratitude, and self-love.
And those
Nobody
are the
talks
first
about
things
self-love,
that your
man.
brain comes up.
Self-love is humongous, man.
Because you train your core.
It's huge. Yeah, I believe it's really huge for anybody, especially teenagers.
Something that I use to
I believe it's huge.
kind of like reset perspective, I guess.
Absolutely. Well, how do you build a perspective? Perspectives are built inside, right?
Yeah, if you don't build it,
Yeah.
you don't have it.
So if your perspective's built inside, and meditation is
It can be whatever you decide.
what's the meaning of it? What's the ancient Tibetan meaning of it?
What is it?
I just said it.
Oh, you said it.
I did.
Oh,
Don't remember.
Basically, to know thyself.
Oh, yeah.
it is.
Know thyself, dude. That's what meditation means. Know thyself.
Know thyself.
In my opinion, that's what it means.
Yeah.
I think
know?
that's just a huge important part of life.
I do. And then a lot of people are like, no, I'm not going to meditate. That's weird. The only thing weird about it is getting in tune with yourself. If you're scared of yourself, don't do it.
Well, a lot of people don't want to
You know what I
unpack
mean?
the closet.
Don't do it.
And
A lot of people don't want to look at that. But if you do look at it, that's when things change.
And the other thing is, I feel like a lot of people look at meditation as like you got to sit cross-legged and like hum.
No,
you know what I
dude.
mean? Like
A lot of times,
like that's
my
not
kids, man,
meditation.
my kids joke around with me all the time, dude. They be clowning me, dude. He's like, "You look like this, Dad," because like I'm like, yeah, like I end up on the ground. I don't even know. A lot of times, man, I lose it in there, and I don't even know what room I'm in. I don't know what time it is, what day it is. I like that.
Yeah.
That's because that's what you're supposed to do in there. You're supposed to forget about everything. I think that's true manifestation. That's where the magic happens.
Well, then you're the most concentrated.
Well,
A lot of
I feel
people
like
can
you're
focus
tuning
on
your
their goals
frequency
and
to
really
what you
bring
want.
the material into the material.
Yeah, you tune your frequency of mind to what you want and the things that you're looking for. And when you
Like-
tune that frequency of mind, that's your mind. It's the same as the marathon runner. Like when you tune that, your mind doesn't know the difference between that happening and not. So it just assumes it's happening. And
Well,
then it pulls
yeah.
it towards you.
Science says your energy, dude. When you look at it through an electron microscope, you're a vibration of energy. Every part of you. And you're made up of 18 trillion atoms. And they're all vibrating at 0.74. 0.074. But it goes 2.5. It goes on. It's a big number. But so add that together, because atoms can't touch each other, or you have what? A nuclear. You have a problem, right?
That's why they're positively or
So
negatively.
you are
Yeah.
literally walking around as a bomb.
Yeah.
At least you have the
If you-
energy. You have that much energy
absolutely.
inside your person.
Absolutely. And
That's
that's
crazy to
where
think about, right?
That's where people build up said energy in certain parts of their body that gives it a dis-ease. Put your body at a dis-ease.
Yeah.
No.
And
To change your energy, you
When
have
you
to change your
start-
thought process. You have to.
Hard.
Yeah.
It is.
It all starts with mind.
And you have to retrain your subconscious, especially if you grow up watching the news or watching anything. You're going to just be man, just fear tactics. That's just all you see.
Something that
That's all you see.
Yeah. Something that I use is like, I don't know, is just like something I started doing was I would just tell myself zoom out. Like whenever I was in a situation, it was like making me feel some kind of way that I didn't want to. I would just kind of literally tell myself in my mind, zoom out. And when I would say that, the first thing that would pop into my mind is just like, zooming out and like seeing the world and then the universe and then more galaxy, like when you really think about it, like in the perspective of everything, like
As above,
that
so
thing
below.
doesn't matter that
As
much.
above, so below. So everything blown up is the same as it is small.
Yeah.
Dude, do you know what science says we're made up of? Space dust. Coalesced around with energy. That's what science says, dude.
What science? Ooh, I've never heard that.
Well, I mean, they say
At the
when you
base of it
break us
we're
all the way
made
down,
up
when
of
you
the same basic 4 elements.
exactly.
Oh, I got you.
We
Yeah.
are.
Right.
We're
okay.
space dust.
Right. I
We're made
understand
up
that.
of the same elements as everything in the universe,
Which is
and we're the
space
only
dust,
ones.
that is
Well,
space.
we're not the only ones on
Well,
this
the
planet.
story of
but
creation, right?
I definitely don't
Pulled you
think
out
we're
of
the
the
only
earth.
ones on this planet, but I think that we're.
I'm sorry, I missed that comment. What was that? That's the only ones?
I said that I don't think we're the only ones on this planet for sure.
Oh yeah.
And that's a dumb thing to even think nowadays. You know what I mean? All you have to do is look at anywhere and you see all kinds of stuff you cannot explain, you know?
It's true.
Yeah, I guess it is true.
There's no way that, at least in my mind, because there's so many planets, there's so many galaxies, there's so many continuums. There's no way that we're not alone.
Yeah.
Oh, it's infinite.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Absolutely.
like somewhere in infinite, there's got to be something else.
That's true, huh?
That number's a little too low.
You realize
Yeah.
infinite is never ending. So it's like in a never endingness, there's not going to be only
Sure.
one instant.
No.
There actually technically would be an infinite amount of other creatures and things out there if you really
Right.
think
Well,
about
if you
it.
think-
Yeah.
Right now, all it takes, honestly, like some of the cool space movies that kind of show it, right? Like, what if you have 2 moons? Like, what do you think that does to your night cycles?
Yeah.
Right? Like, with
Yeah.
a full moon here, the animals are out. Like, it's a different world out when it's a full moon.
Yeah.
Imagine if there's
It is.
2 of them. Like,
Yep.
how different would that world be?
Man, I bet that
even if
tide
they're
would
just
be crazy.
even if it's just
The
people
tide
like
would be
us.
crazy, like the gravitational pull
Yeah,
of the tide.
but think about it. Even if it's just people like us with dogs and
Yeah.
cats and chickens and horses and sharks and whales and all the things of the earth underneath just a different moon, they're going to look they're going to be completely
Yeah.
different,
yeah.
completely different, but the same basic 4 elements.
Yeah, made up of the same thing, but it's like
Maybe so.
crazy because they'd be made up of the same thing, but they could have a total, like they could get their food from the sun, like plants, or like
Yeah.
there's
Or 2
no
suns.
reason that they wouldn't be made up different, like made of the same thing but different in nature.
Dude, that's the law of polarity.
Yeah,
There's got to be like weird
There
things
is
like
two
that.
different
To this
sides.
varying in
It
degrees.
is. So where does dark end and light start?
Yeah.
Where
Well,
you
Sucker
perceive
theory.
it.
Well, and the other
You
thing
don't know.
is,
What
Where
is light?
Yeah.
Light is photon beams being placed and shot at you.
Hey, have
What
you
is
guys
dark-
ever heard of the? You're into this stuff.
Hmm?
Sorry, have you ever heard of the dark sucker theory?
No.
no.
So like things like candles and light bulbs, they don't actually give off light; they suck dark. That's why, like when you light a candle and it sucks the dark, and the wick turns black.
Yeah, that sucks. Yeah.
All
right.
I've never heard that one, but that's golden.
Yeah.
It was a junior high paper.
Yeah.
I like it.
Oh,
But
it's,
like darkness is still something, right?
it's just light, bro.
it's the absence of it. But
Yeah, but where does it start and where does light start and where does dark end?
the dark only begins where
Where does
light
the-
ends, but
where
there is
does
no
heat
end
start?
where dark.
And cold end.
The way that
Oh.
I like to explain it is like,
absolutely, it's all right relative.
yeah,
When does love start and hate end?
Oh,
The
that's your
thing is-
perspective point.
In the middle when you like someone.
yeah.
That's what I think.
It's,
I think it's crazy because
Right.
I like to explain it as like if there was no dark, how would you know? Like you wouldn't know with you
It's
have
the
to
same
you
nature,
have to
but
know
two
that they're
different degrees.
Right.
they're the same thing.
Hot and
It's
cold.
just the way that
Emotions are
it's
the same. Remember that emotions.
perceived.
Everything is the law of polarity.
All of
Science
these things
proves
are-
it. Everything. North and south is a polarity. Everything in the universe. Precession of the equinox. It's on a polarity, dude. Everything.
Yeah, and the
I mean-
law of polarity produce
It
like
is the law.
Well, right. They
Yeah.
talk about
Of
now
the
there's all the
universe.
health thing where you got these couches that they're 50 grand or whatever, and it grounds you.
Yeah.
Sit on your couch and you're grounded to the earth. It's supposed to help like center your energy and
You know what?
all that
What
kind of
crazy?
stuff.
That's
you know what-
actually
It's a lot
kind of
cheaper to walk
Yeah.
outside with.
You,
That's-
you know what happened to mankind is they started putting rubber soles on the bottom of our shoes.
yeah,
That
you know, connection to the
blocks.
earth. There's all sorts of things
Yeah.
that say, you know,
Yeah.
one of the healthiest things you can do is garden barefoot.
Yeah.
Be in your soil barefoot and work
Oh,
it.
yeah.
You absorb.
Man, I'll go up and grab a tree, man. I understand.
You know what? I'm going to garden
The
this year, you guys.
vibration.
I'm totally going to till in this patch right
I
here by the
understand the
shop.
vibration of trees
I'll video it. We're going to garden. I'm going to
Yeah.
grow
because
things.
they have the same
Brian's
Like
barefoot
vegetables.
gardening.
output as us
Yeah.
as far as energy.
Yeah.
Their
There
energy
are
comes
exact
up through because
counter.
think about it. They reproduce air.
They
So
give us
they're-
what we need, and
they're
we
the
give them what
lungs.
we.
Of the earth, trees are. They really are. They're the lungs. The earth is a living being, and you can't say it's not.
So, you know, right now, John, are
It
you
is
aware?
That's why
living
they
in
call it
being,
Mother
and we are
Earth.
beings on its
So,
face.
hey, John.
Huh.
So you know how right now they say that the Earth has got the highest CO2 it's ever had, right?
Oh,
So do you know that the Earth is greener than it's ever been before? So all the people, all the vegetarians and the vegans who want us to stop doing this stuff because of the CO2, it's like your world is thriving. Your vegetables and your green stuff is thriving. They're talking about the deserts are going to expand. They're not. It's greener than they thought it was going to be, and no one talks
Yeah,
about
but
it.
dude, I've been
That's-
following the rainforest, bro, and it's just sad, dude. They're cutting the
Well,
lungs.
yeah, but that's just us destroying.
That's the lungs of the
That's-
world, dude. That's the lungs of Mother
Agreed.
Earth, dude. And they are, you know what they're cutting it down for?
batteries.
No, they're cutting it down so the people of the Amazon are so poor they cut down the rainforest to build fields to feed McDonald's cows. I'm not even, and they're doing
yeah, no.
50,000 acres a day there.
That's
Dude, the
crazy.
shaman. So, do you know who Graham Hancock is? So, he's like a super good journalist. Have you ever heard of that? Graham
Yeah.
Hancock. So, I was watching a thing, man, and he says that so shamans from the rainforest are going all over the U.S. and they are. Think about this, and they're distributing DMT because they think it's going to save the world. And I think it is too, because people are waking up all over the place. People are waking up finally, and you can tell people are waking up because everybody, I think, can probably agree with this. You're driving down the road, dude cuts you off, and immediately you know how his day is. You felt it, right?
No,
Am I
no,
wrong?
it's true. You can
It is.
connect with other people's
Absolutely,
energy.
man. You can
It's-
feel him going by, man.
You can perceive it.
If
and
he's
that's-
mad, you're gonna, you know what I mean?
That's
Yeah.
true. You can
can't-
tell.
You can.
You're right. I know exactly.
That's
what
why
you're
road
saying.
rage happens.
Right.
Because two people get that energy going, and one dude's in the mirror in the rear view. Oh,
Yeah.
dude, just freaking something happened in his life. That's that's what road rage is, dude.
That's why
You
it's
never
so-
know who's. Don't do that. You
It
don't
is.
know who's on the other side of the wheel.
Right. He's having a shitty day.
Yeah, dude.
Whoever, whatever.
Yeah, man. You don't know.
Yeah.
Why would you test that with anybody? I just wave at him and shit. You know what I mean?
You just say, yeah, hope
I
it
do.
gets better for you.
Because I drive like a grandpa. When I was younger, I drove really fast. I don't drive like that anymore. No way. I got kids, man. I drive like
It's funny how it
old.
changes. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm going to get there. I want to get there in one piece, you know?
That's
I still
the
see
important
people
part.
driving crazy, especially around here, dude. It's wild.
Yeah.
It is wild, man.
Yeah. Oh.
Good stuff, man. You know, you drove in Utah when you're do a complete donut and take a drink of your coffee and just keep driving.
Yeah. Literally.
Well, yeah, because like I hate to say, I mean,
You know,
for the most part, a lot of us have
You know,
done that. You know,
go
like
right through an intersection.
Yeah.
Oh, but I'll get hit. You're not stopping, dude.
No.
When there's that much snow, man,
if you're not,
stopping.
yeah, I just try to
I
drive
don't
really
care.
carefully.
You
It's
have to
4-wheel
be that
drive, not
person.
stop, dude. Especially
Yep.
on that much snow.
Oh, I've
Yeah.
been doing it in a Saab.
With bald
Yeah.
tires.
Oh,
That's
makes it
your
more
problem,
fun.
bro.
With
I don't
slicks
think
damn
Dave
near.
has a problem
I
with it.
literally gave them a set of tires to put
Dang.
on that car, and they still drive it with slicks. They just
Ooh.
like the challenge.
Yeah.
All right, what time are we gonna get home? Oh man, we're gonna attempt this one. The other day was crazy up here snowing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know, and honestly,
yesterday-
I need to. We probably
Man.
need to make sure we do videos of that because some people I don't think. I was doing an inspection out in that stuff, and it was snowing like hell, and I'm like, dude, this is just coming down.
Yep.
And I was like, well, I'm gonna start inside. So I'm doing the inside of the house, and I'm about done. And I'm like, well, crap, I gotta go outside. And it was still snowing just as hard. The snowflakes were like 10 times the size though. They were so huge. I was
Yeah.
like, you have got to be kidding me. By the time I walked around the back of the house, I had like 1.5 inches of snow built up on my shoulders and my head.
It was like a foot yesterday.
Yeah.
That came
Oh,
down.
dude, and it just came down.
Yeah.
Man.
Those are my favorite though. Like,
Oh, isn't it though? And it's
it happens
everything's
a lot in
quiet.
Nevada.
Snow muffles so much sound. Oh my gosh. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
It's pure silence, and you're
Pure
walking
silence.
through a winter wonderland. My favorite's when you can't see more than 100 yards in front of you.
That's honestly not my favorite, but
When you're up in the
not
mountains.
a huge fan of that, man. Not big on that, but yeah, you get it a lot here, man. The fog gets thick, dude, out by where I live.
Yep.
Out there in Smithfield, dude, it gets dense, dude. I couldn't even
Yeah.
see the neighbor's house.
Nope.
I was like, oh man, I don't even want to go to work.
I only get that a couple. I only get that 2 or 3 times a year here. But
Wow.
there's other areas in this valley that get it.
It looks like it's
Especially
almost
over
there
by
out
the
there right
marsh.
now. It almost looks like it is right there.
It is. So I actually
Oh, yeah.
started and took a video of this to go kind of show people the foggy conditions and whatnot. But
Yeah.
There's something about being in the middle of the nowhere in the mountains and being in that. That's my favorite.
Yep. I like it too. I
But
do.
I have to
those in
be
there.
packed up.
just toss both of them in.
Man, there's a little place up here that gets the coldest in the nation.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Sinks,
Peter
dude.
Sinks. Yeah. I snowmobile there. Are you kidding me? Everybody sleds there.
Dang, man. I
Everybody up here goes there. You
I
go
wouldn't
up
want
there.
to be there at night, dude. No way.
Actually, we should probably. This is a bad year for it. We didn't break any records. We need to make sure one of the years that we're going to break a record, we probably ought to go up there and be like, "Hey, we're going to do a podcast. It's this is Peter Sinks. This is the coldest place in America," and like show people.
Dude, I'm not going to that.
Everyone's
one. I
just
am
shivering
not
doing a
the
podcast.
guest.
Yep.
I'm not the guest on that one. I'm not.
Yep, and do it like literally. We'll go sit in one of the sinks.
Just like,
We're talking
I'll
like
dress
negative
warm.
60.
I'm not going to sit there in a t-shirt. I'm going to
Dude, it
sit
was
there in all my
negative
gear.
60 degrees up there.
Oh, I'm aware, bro.
Mhm.
Yeah, I snowmobile up there all the time. In
That's
fact, one year we were up there.
You right into that.
Dude, we were up there snowmobiling, and so kind of a general rule when you're snowmobiling and stuff is you're not supposed to explore down, right? Because you have to get back out, and if it's
Yeah.
something that you can't get up, then you're in a world. And a couple guys in our group thought they were going to be froggy. It was one dude who was borderline pro, really great rider, and then somebody who thought they were a great rider, and they went down.
Neither
And,
of those.
and there's a technique called
Yeah.
elevatoring on a snowmobile. You guys ever heard of elevatoring? So when it's so steep that you have to try to go down it, you dump your sled on its side and you jump and like plant yourself in the snow to slow it down because it's so steep. And so that's how you elevator your way down. And you can kind of pivot the sled and pivot it.
Oh,
So it's really quite a sketchy situation to be doing.
Yeah.
And again, while I realize it's necessary and it's a good skill to have, and I've done it myself, you just don't anyway. So we were out there, and it was already, a solid 2, maybe -2 degrees, kind of hovering in that area. And, 50 feet of snow. It's a really good year around here where the pine trees are all look like they're small.
yeah.
And so anyway, so these guys are gone, and we're like, well, crap. And there's probably 4 or 5 others. We got a 14-year-old kid with us on a snow machine, and we start, grabbing the little witches, broom things, whatever. You chop off the big cluster of dead pine needles, and so we got a bunch of those and started a fire, and of course, it's melting the snow, so you're sinking while you got this fire, and now you're starting to hike out. You got to move your machines back. And we're out there. It's about 20 below zero. It's about 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock at night. And it's just like, oh, dang, dude. Like, it's going to be really cold up here. But then anyways, the guys ended up finding their way back up. They're all able to jam out of it. And riding out in 20 below zero,
Yeah.
plus the wind chill of being, 30 miles an hour on a snow machine and like powder. It was
Yeah.
really, really rough.
Get the wind burn where it's just like
Oh.
so much cold.
Yeah.
It's like a burn on your
Honestly,
face.
dude, I'm like really cold even just thinking about it. It kind of like freaks me out. I was like, I remember that. That was a really, really rough, cold memory. There's that energy.
It
Yeah.
is. It is.
Now I got to think about something to be in the desert.
Memory. Memories create emotions.
It's
They
true. We
And
patent.
emotions, dude.
Our emotions
are-
is how our
it's a chemical.
subconscious talks to us.
So it's a chemical that your brain releases. They know that now. That science proves that emotions are actually chemicals
That
that your
I mean, sure.
your brain release. So
It makes sense.
so if that's true,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Sure.
And memories trigger those emotions,
That's why people get trapped.
and you
in-
base things off memories every day that you live,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And you're on autopilot 95% of the time. Oh man,
Really easy to let-
meditation is a good way to try to bring that
That's
home
the
and
only
do
way,
it guided.
dude. That's the only way
Do
I
it
found to
guided at
break
first.
it.
Sounds like we got a bunch of people who don't know how to do it. I couldn't do it. You couldn't do it guided, right?
I did. Yep.
So I'm gonna have to just get some headphones and try it guided, I suppose.
It is the best thing that ever
Guided.
happened, dude.
There's
Serious.
so many good ones too.
Serious.
It's so good as long as you're really going into it.
Yeah, the reason that I kept doing Joe's is like he just has he has like proven science behind it.
Kind of trying to really.
Yeah, and what?
Does he have like an institution he runs out of? Or do you know?
Man, you could look him up. He's a neuroscientist, PhD.
Yeah, I just had
For
him
sure.
pulled up.
Weird if
right
I look
here.
him up
Yeah.
while I'm talking.
I think
Do
he
it.
I think he's definitely. I heard this other dude interviewing him, and he said that he binds science and spirituality the best through neuroscience. Through the brain.
Yeah. I feel like
meditation.
quantum, like when you get into
Dance,
quantum
dance.
physics and quantum mechanics, that is really like where, like, because physics is like the world stuff, you know, like, and physics is like how things work in the world and like how things move. But like when quantum physics comes into it, it's almost like that's like where the normal physics meets spirituality, and a bunch of the physics that we know, we don't actually know, you know?
Science and spirituality.
Okay, so he's
So
a
I
YouTuber
think they're the
too.
same
He's a
thing.
published author.
Say what?
I think they're the same thing.
Science and spirituality.
Do you?
The ones, each of
They're
them are
binding,
different
right?
ways of
Man,
looking
they're
at the perspective
binding
of
together, though. I mean,
life.
because if you look at spirituality, it's based off of thoughts.
Mhm.
Science is measuring those thoughts.
Dude,
now.
isn't YouTube awesome right now?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
He's over there on one
Science is
topic,
trying
I'm
to
on my own.
understand them
Becoming
in
the
like
same
an
thing,
actual.
dude. It's becoming the same thing.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just going.
The understanding is
Yeah.
just coming
And
to a
when you
point
bring
where it's
them
like you
together-
can't
Yeah.
Or
deny.
at least start trying
Yeah.
to build that roadmap. It's like a legend on a map. And
Dude,
it
I
makes it
encourage
so you understand.
anybody and everybody to meditate. I don't even care who you are, where you've been, what you've done.
What's Wikipedia? Did Wikipedia?
If you can't,
change its name?
No, probably.
I don't know.
It's,
I would
it's
say
a
do it.
wiki for it.
Yeah.
all the time, as
Yeah.
much as possible. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it just tunes your mind. And I feel like also like, and maybe you can kind of give some input on this. Like, I don't know that I don't meditate in the sense of like sitting and, you know, like just, you know, like the general meditation I do sometimes. Like I'll lay in bed and like focus my mind super fine into where like I'm not jumping to other thoughts, but like really focused in mind. And then from there, it's like kind of enter this state of like
Focused with
complete
intent,
relaxation and yeah,
Focus
like
with intent.
yeah, and then start focusing on things that I want, or you know, things that
Yeah.
like, you know, and that's kind of what I do. And throughout the day and like at different points I'll do the same kind of thing. And I don't know if that's meditation, like that's just something that I do. But yeah, I mean, I guess it kind of is meditation in a way.
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of people look at meditation in different ways. They're like, oh, I do this for a meditation sensation. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
a meditate. But I think really honestly that we're honestly all supposed to like really go and do the whole meditative
Yeah.
synchrony of so
It's just trying to
the
unplug
neurons
and-
in your brain that fire together wire together.
Oh,
That's what science says. So if you go into a meditative state and start thinking about a positive emotion in your life, an elevated emotion in your life, say it's the love for your family, the love for yourself. It could be a lot of different things. You can go look at that however you want to.
that's
But
why.
an elevated
That's why we're asked
emotion
to
will
give
take that
gratitude.
meditation to a different place.
Yeah. Help you stay
so-
focused and to be live a
So
life
would
of
you say
gratitude.
meditation is almost
Energy.
just focused thought? Like it's
And
almost
bel-
just
it's also
super like
high
hyper
belief
focused thought with
because
no
saw
outside
that.
distraction.
And you asked
You
for
know?
it and manifested.
Is that like a
You know, I guess it
Crazy.
all depends
Yeah.
on what you want to get out of it.
okay?
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, what do you want out of meditation?
Yeah, if you're searching for understanding.
You know what I want? I want peace. Mental peace. In every aspect.
Oh,
So,
it's been shown that people
Yeah.
that
absolutely.
angrier people or that get trapped inside the anger cycles, I like to call them, because we all create them in my mind. But those people that get trapped in their anger cycles versus the people that don't, or that are more, show gratitude, people that show gratitude tend to live longer, because it makes it so that their cortisol levels that do build up.
Yeah.
And cortisol is the stress chemical for anyone who doesn't.
Understand that. We all have it. There's
it's-
that's not a.
It's super bad for you. It, like,
Don't they say running produces
It's
a lot of
bad.
cortisol?
cortisol, like, blocks
Running.
proteins in your
I
body.
don't know if it produces
So-
cortisol.
Your body is completely ran off of proteins. You know that, right? Everything, every cycle in your body, they just have different names for the proteins. So your stomach, your stomach runs off of proteins that they call
Enzymes.
enzymes in your stomach.
Okay,
Everything
sure.
has that. Everything is
Okay, that makes sense.
protein based.
Yeah.
Everything. So knowing that,
Everything in your body functions because it's designed to do one thing and produce a chemical to do that one thing, like a pancreas.
exactly.
Can't remember ever what it produces, but a gallbladder produces gall. Like, you have so many glands,
Your pineal gland
pineal gland.
secretes DMT.
Yeah, and that's also the thing
It
that
creates
releases.
the picture in your mind of everything that you see.
That's up in the front of your brain, isn't it?
Right.
It's
Oh, bad.
Oh,
it's back here. The pineal gland is
Okay.
right between your ears, a little bit lower on the back of your brain, or horse's eye. A lot of people call it horse's eye.
oh yeah, that's why. Because it
That's your
like
third
sits
eye,
right
though.
in
That's
there.
that's where it codes through.
I was looking at.
For sure. That's your chakra
That's
right there. I like that a
Hmm.
lot. It's your Om chakra. So in those meditations, man, he has you bless your chakras, which is freaking cool, because he says most people, or as human beings, that we carry all of like the negative in the torso. So every time you do one of his meditations, you bless those chakras as you're doing his meditation. It's really awesome, dude. Like, if you
Have you
do
ever
'em,
had your
man, I love 'em.
chakras read?
Yeah, that's weird.
That's a whole practice.
That's
I'm
a
aware.
practice. And they
Yeah,
teach
there's
it in
a-
beauty school.
It's actually like a professional.
Yeah, there's a lady up in
practice.
Smithfield who does it. It's it's on the corner. Oh, what? Say that I can't. Oh my! I could see her face.
It's a very interesting experience because what they're doing is they're just reading the energies.
Yeah, I got you. So it's kind of like Reiki.
Yeah,
Because
it
they
is
heal
very
you, they
similar.
heal you with.
Just it's really similar to Reiki.
Yeah, Reiki. Yep, that stuff's cool, man. That's real. It's energy, man.
Oh,
We are energy. So if you think that, if you really believe that, like you believe that's real, then you can heal yourself.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, I think
man, I'm
I
telling
think
you.
anyone
Anything.
can.
I'm telling you, dude, you
manifest.
can through meditation. You can heal anything.
Yeah.
He proves it. He's got lots and lots and lots of peer reviews of science where they've changed the entire biology in their body through
Can't
freaking meditation, dude.
Yeah.
It's how the guy that literally
It's
sits
crazy. Like
Yep.
the ice bath guy, the Iceman. That's how he does it. Like the guy that broke the record for the longest
Wim Hof.
something.
I think Wim Hof.
Longest what?
It was the longest ice bath.
Ugh.
in the
Sounds
world.
miserable.
He
Oh, dude,
also
Your
like
muscles,
swims
but I'm just not
underwater
in
in
yet.
Well, he would
Feel.
sit,
frozen lakes, and
yeah, he was known as the Iceman, and he would just go and sit in these.
he hiked Everest barefoot.
Dang. Shows you though, you know what though? I mean, the human body, like all these people who do this stuff, it kind of just shows you like you can do anything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's just about
Literally, it's that mental toughness. Anybody who's like, well, I can't because of bull crap. I promise you there's somebody who's worse than you, who has done more than you. And again, it's not about comparison though. So that's the other thing. I'm not trying to make anybody feel
No
bad.
way.
I want you to be encouraged. You can do it.
And
maybe you can't do it as good as a person who doesn't have your ailment. That doesn't matter. If you just show up and do it, you get full credit for almost winning, just because if you have something that makes it harder for you to do something, then everybody else, you're a hero. And to you and the people who are living it, we discover this doing this podcast. There's so many people who don't think they're interesting, right? There's so many people who come on, they're like, man, I felt great after I left your show. I felt like I was interesting and I mattered. And like, you do. You do. All of you matter. You are interesting. Now, if you're stuck and you're trapped and you're going through a trial in life, like seasons, you've heard this thing, and people are always like, people who are going through a crappy season, they're like, don't tell me about seasons, dude. You're like, well, unfortunately, like you have to take the crappy ones. Just like you were talking earlier, right? Like or maybe one of you guys, how do you know what real cold is? Right?
Yeah.
If you haven't ever experienced heat, or dark if you don't know light.
Yeah.
Right? Well, how can you know the really great times if you haven't been through the hard times? Right? And sometimes, unfortunately, a lot of us have to hit those hard times before you create great times. And some of us don't ever get out of it. And that's really sad. And that's what we want to show by doing these things is like, dude, you can get out of it. There is nothing that you could be going through that you can't get out of.
Definitely.
You just have to find somebody to inspire you, motivate you.
You know what's crazy about what I think about most Americans, man, or most people, say across the world, I think they've severed ties with spirit.
Sure. Oh, well, yeah. Well, the whole system is rigged, or not rigged, but the whole system is designed to do that. They want factory workers.
Yep.
They want yes sirs and no sirs. They want,
Yeah.
you know, like there's all these studies. They don't like it, but that whole woke agenda thing is most easy to swallow by lower IQ folks.
Yeah.
Like some of those things are designed specifically to capture people that they can.
It's rough, man.
If we could get, like I said, dude, honestly, we're homeschooling our kids now. Like I'm one of
I'm
those,
about
and
to.
people are like, "Oh,
I'm
geez,
about
it's
to.
funny." You know, you start
I'm
getting all
about
this
to, though.
weird
I'm
stuff.
about to. Let's
Do it.
I'm
Do it,
about to.
bro. We'll plug you in. There's such a huge network of amazing people who are homeschooling their kids. They're all over the place. You just get plugged in with the ones that you fit in with, you know. And like, are you kidding me? My mom is a art major. She's like has a couple college degrees, and she was an art teacher for years. She's retired now, but she's going to come up once a week and do art classes. And so we're like, well, let's get a bunch of the other homeschool kids over.
Yeah.
And she's doing it anyways.
Yeah.
Let's just do a class. Dude,
Awesome.
we're going to honestly right here in this pod, we're going to probably do maybe, I don't know if journalism is the right term, but like we're going to have a class on how to do what we're doing here for a podcast. We got 5 cameras, 4 laptops, 5 microphones, lights, you know, we got all kinds of stuff going on.
intro to the set.
Intro to a set, you know, we'll clean everything up and we'll build a table. Actually, I probably won't start off with tables. I'll start off with like little, you know, recipe card holders. God, nobody uses it. You have to do a little wooden phone holder. That's what you do nowadays. Is a little wooden smartphone holder.
Yeah.
Hey, I got to write that down. That's going to be
Yeah,
the kids are gonna love that.
our neighbor is a high school English teacher, and he's homeschooled his kids. He always has homeschooled his kids, and he teaches at the high school, and chose to homeschool.
Yeah, I think I'm about to. I'll see. I think my oldest boy, I think he might want to go to high school, but my other one, as soon as they're done with elementary, I think they're going to be home.
So hang on. So you want to keep him, John, you want to keep him out of elementary, and you damn sure want to keep him out of junior high school. That's like the worst time of life for so many people is junior high school. High school, your kids are old enough that if they're like, hey, I want to go give it a go, they can. So like my middle child, she's already in high school, and she's an honor roll, straight A student. You know what I'm saying? So like she's obviously got it figured out. It's not a challenge for her. She's killing it.
Yeah.
You know, and so like she's like, no, I'm just going to stay. We're like, that's cool. But my youngest daughter is in one of these cool a dual immersion program where half of their day is in a different language. And she's been in it for several years. And like, dude, it's hard. It's a lot of stress. And like, we've heard a lot of complaints that the kids are mean. And like, that's what my daughter, she's like, it's just kind of hard being. I don't know. It's just kind of an interesting vibe. It's a lot of pressure, a lot of stress. She just doesn't like it. That's why we're like, well, cool. Homeschool it is. And now that we're all into it and we're like coming up with our curriculums and like, I'm deciding what I'm going to teach.
Yeah.
Wife is deciding what she's going to teach.
Oh man, that's
and we're
so
like, well, wait a minute,
beautiful,
who
man.
else do we know? And then we're like, oh, Grammy's going to come up and
What
teach
other
some stuff.
best way to
Which, by the way, my
enlighten your
Grammy is so
children.
awesome. You can
Yeah.
link this to my TikTok and my video with the Tommy in his vest. My mom, you haven't seen it, did you? My mom knitted Tommy a sweater.
Yeah.
So he wears his double row of spiked collar with his knitted sweater. And he loves it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Tommy looks just like his dad.
he's a
for sure.
boy.
Got it. I just want to make sure I make those couple of notes so I don't lose those ideas as ADD and ourselves all over creation.
That's the truth.
So, you know what's funny? And we've mentioned this, I think, on a couple of the different podcasts, is I have notes, right? I come up with these little notes, this little outline that I think that the conversation is going to go. Dude, this room, it's like trying to herd cats. and I feel like I'm
They're
one of the
on
worst.
catnip.
Well, yeah, and I'm totally the first. I'm absolutely like, you know what I'm saying? Then as I'm like, oh, dude, and then I'm like, oh well.
Try to get next time.
Yeah,
We're
we'll
gonna
just try
to go
again
off this.
next time.
I think
so.
last time we were talking about the Anunnaki.
Right,
Yeah.
and that's what I was actually
think
going to have you
that's
come
what
back
we're
on because we touched on
Talking
that for
about,
2
I think
seconds.
so.
and
I
then
mean,
we
that ties
split.
right into meditation. I mean, it's really
Yeah, an energy
it
frequency.
is. Yes,
Daniel,
absolutely.
so
Yeah,
that
it's-
whole conversation, Daniel, that's what he wanted to talk about, and his mic wasn't working. And then here this time, Daniel's mic was working great, and we did not talk about the Anunnaki. But hang on, we have a solid, 10 minutes left,
Yeah.
Joe? I got 55 on mine. You
Yeah,
want
I
to
got
go
55.
105, 110?
Yeah.
Okay, so we got about 10, 15 minutes. You guys want to talk? Let's just talk about the Anunnaki. Let's not, because
Yeah.
that whole can of worms is, man,
It's huge.
that's
Yeah.
a big
man.
can of worms.
It
It's a
is
big round
huge.
can of worms. So let's decide. Okay,
It
let's
is huge.
teach these folks who in the heck the Anunnaki are. What do they do? Are they real, or is this another something that's nobody can quantify existed?
You could definitely look it up in a lot of different languages.
What language is Anunnaki? Do you guys know? Daniel, just jump
Anunnaki
in when
is
you're ready.
Well, so
Atlantean.
yeah,
He looks like
mean,
he's about to
It's
vomit over there.
Atlantean. It's
well,
Atlantean.
I think there's a lot that goes into it, and I think that I don't know I don't know a ton about the Anunnaki specific.
There's
They're
multiple
mentioned
races
in a lot of different
Anunnaki.
places, and where there are things that we don't understand. And I mean, they go by different names and different things, and it's interesting. And yeah, kind of one of the ones like the Hermetics and the Kabbalion, I feel like
Absolutely.
are kind of
Absolutely.
along the lines
Absolutely.
of those. And those are some books that I really enjoyed just because the amount of things that they talk about and
The
the things that they
Hermeticas.
talk about are
Absolutely.
universal. I mean, I feel like they're universal truths.
We were
almost
just talking about the law of polarity, the law of vibration.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of them in there. They're just universal laws that science just proves that they're real. They're just the laws of the
All right.
universe.
Yeah, and I
The
think
law of
they're-
correspondence, the
Yeah.
law of gender. Everything manifests in a gender. Everything.
Yeah. And you need the male and
Masculine or feminine.
female.
Oh, it only says
Everything.
2. Ooh,
Yeah. Well, and it talks about the importance of
I
I do.
they go into kind of the importance of having the different genders, like each of them have their own purpose that they're supposed to fulfill, and without each other, they're not able
So-
to fulfill completely.
Exactly. So what it is energy doesn't have a sex. It has a gender, but it does not have a sex.
Yeah.
That's what it means, dude.
Yeah, and that's why in psychology they
Energy.
they speak of it as the male or the
Absolute-
female energy.
Absolutely.
Their core.
Exactly. And that's what creates everything. That's why the earth pollinates. That's why everything. That is the law of
Well, it
gender.
have to, because if it didn't, it would
We
cease to
die.
exist. Right.
Yeah.
Right. The occasional anomaly might happen. Like,
The earth is definitely a living being, for sure. And you can't say it's not. Everything's living on top
Has
of
to
it, dude. Yeah, it's coming out of it. Everything coming out of it's alive. Your fruit, your vegetables. You can't say that it's not alive,
Right.
dude. That's dumb to even think that. Oh, it's just a big rock floating through the universe. You're retarded if you think that, by the way. I don't care who you are.
Yeah.
Yeah, the earth is definitely alive. There's
Think that-
trees coming out alive everywhere. It's the most alive thing. Probably a big part of the universe. We're definitely alive.
Well, and everything follows the same kind of set of guidelines. I'm going to ask you about this because I'm curious
Okay.
if you heard of the torus. The torus. It's like the circulation of energy.
spell the Taurus? Taurus?
Taurus. TOUR or
TAU.
TORUS.
Like the Taurus, like a
It's like a donut. Pretty much imagine
Yeah,
a
so
donut,
it's
and then there's
the
a spiral circling of energy, and that's
Okay.
kind of how the energy circulates in the universe. And they've studied it into things all the way to like snowflakes,
How our
the way that
magnetic field
snowflakes
works on
are.
the Earth.
How the magnetic
Everything's in
field of
circles,
the
man.
Earth
Everything
is
in the whole universe is
it's
in circles.
rotating out and in
Time.
kind of thing.
Really?
We measure time in circles. Everything's in circles.
But yeah,
It is.
that's kind of an interesting thing. It's like almost like the circulation of energy and how it rotates in, kind of outputs and comes back around, and then
How divine is that process?
it's crazy.
How divine is the process of us circulating the sun? Just think about that by itself in amazement. Some people don't even think about that, but at any given
perfect
second,
circle.
if that sun gave off one solar flare, we're toast.
Mhm. We've
But
had a
for
couple
1
of them.
second, it died off. We'd have 8 minutes, and then this whole sky would go black. That's how long the transmission from the sun takes
Yeah.
to receive
Yeah.
to touch the earth.
Light.
I wonder
It's
how
8
long it would
minutes.
take after that before.
Ooh, I don't know.
Oh,
But it's
all
gonna
it
get
takes is
cold.
one bad
But if a solar
and
flare
you lose
hits us,
everything.
It'll toast
Well, yeah, but when you
all
think about how
electric.
long the Earth's been, it hasn't happened yet. Like again, that kind
They-
of gives some of that either
The
divine, the
electromagnetic
Earth's
field
alive, the
cause
Earth
on Earth
maybe
will destroy
Yeah.
all
that's
electronics.
that's why the
That's-
Earth is
all
rotating
They
at
had
the
a
speed
solar
that it
flare.
is.
Oh, dude!
Did
it'll
you hear
toast
about
us.
that?
We've
We-
dodging them.
We've had it hit.
We
We've
had
had
a
several
solar-
of them hit Earth before back in time.
We had a solar flare hit in like I don't remember what year. It was when they had the telegraph lines that they did the little clickers. And we had a solar flare hit, and it literally launched anyone who was on the end of those things, like launched them, caught fire to the buildings, like burned everything down because it was such a surge of energy in their systems that, it shot so much electricity out at both ends of it. That's the last time that we've really had a solar flare hit us, but that's what happened then.
What they're,
So it's
what they're
like,
scared of is our protective layer above us is space junk and big holes
Yeah.
from methane gas
That
coming
we
off
left
this
up
Earth.
there by accident.
Dude,
the space junk is
By
crazy.
accident.
what'd they say? How many tons did they just say? I just saw it
It
on the
was
news.
so
It's
many.
like 80,000 tons of space
You can
junk.
think about like if there is somebody out there cruising through the atmosphere, they're
Yeah,
gonna be
you
like,
got an
"Oh,
alien."
don't
He's
go
like,
here."
"Hey,
Yeah.
over by
They still leave their
No.
garbage in their
We're not going
atmosphere.
there, dude.
Yeah, I ain't going there.
that
That looks like a sketchy part of town.
Dude, that's a bad alleyway right there, dude. I don't know.
That's true. That's basically what
All
we've done.
right,
for
Bill,
any-
take a left right over there. Go by Saturn.
Yeah, let's go somewhere else.
Yeah, let's go check out the rings, man. That's
Oh, oh, Daniel, there it goes. Dodge your board every day. Yeah, I should have said something.
And on top of it,
You were riveted with conversation about space junk.
yeah.
anyway with the Anunnaki. That's what we were. Dude, we went freaking.
It's ADHD Express. I
Yeah.
gotta
Dude.
get the ADHD sign up on because every time we say that, we can. Ooh,
Hand to that.
yeah.
ADHD brain.
Well,
Agreed.
and my brother says, he's like, I'm getting you, he goes, the biggest taxidermied squirrel I can find. And I was like, you know what? That's a great idea. And if he doesn't get it, I'll get it. Because then I'm just going to mount that sucker up on the wall and we can always go, oh, squirrel, and then just boom.
That's perfect.
We might even name him.
That is good.
We might name
So
him.
good.
Yeah. Yeah, the Anunnaki. So that is a big story, dude. I don't know.
I
if
know, and that's still, see, that's the whole the Atlantean thing. And like, there's like a quick Google search, like that stuff is not real yet. They don't really know. There's no proof that was
so.
a real
So
shit.
I'm gonna
right?
ask you. So listen to me
So,
on this. So on the Emerald
direct
Tablets. So
proof.
just look at this at the
Like-
Emerald Tablets. Just think about this on the Emerald Tablets. The dude who translated, who actually touched the Emerald Tablets, his name is Maurice Doriel. Okay, you can look him up. His name is Dr. Doriel. And if he didn't touch those tablets and translate them like people are trying to say or whatever, and I don't believe that at all because I've meditated about them. Those are very real. But then he is some type of Einstein, Nikola Tesla type of dude.
Well, he could have been.
Period.
I mean,
Yeah, but he talks about quantum physics that they didn't even figure out till last year. Now that is crazy, dude. If you know how to speak esoteric, there's a lot of quantum physics in the Emerald Tablets that, dude, they didn't even know about some of that stuff till the 80s. He translated them in 1925.
Yeah, and another thing that kind of got me,
Dude.
like the thing that got me really interested in like the Qualia and the Hermetic teachings, like the Book of Thoth, those things, is like the Hermetics, the time frame that they came from was like Egyptian times, and he was from Egypt, where they were building the pyramids when they were building the pyramids,
Okay.
which I thought was really interesting.
Right.
That,
Talking
like,
about Hermes Trismegistus.
yeah, Hermes, yeah. And so kind of the writings from then and like the time frame that they were written,
That's who wrote the Emerald
all along
Tablets.
those.
Right.
So kind of
Same being.
it was interesting to me because like obviously during that time they knew something that we don't. you know?
Absolutely. So the Romans called him Mercury.
Well, and so and that's why you say so that the Vatican has them.
I think, dude, if you follow that story, definitely
Okay.
research it. Dr.
Somebody has it.
Doriel. Look up Dr. Doriel. Just research Dr. Doriel, the Emerald Tablets.
When I was a kid,
And
there was
it
a
will-
rumor.
It's a story.
So when I was a kid, there was a rumor. You guys know because you guys are all in Utah, right? You
Yeah.
guys know about the LDS vault, right? Up on the
Yeah.
side of the
That's
mountain,
real.
Utah County, right?
That's
So
super
it's this
real,
huge. For those of
by
you
the
who
way.
don't know, there's this huge vault down in Utah County with security
It's
like
massive.
machine guns, bulletproof vests, all that stuff, barbed wire, Constantine wire cameras. But it's a vault on the side of the mountain. And when I was a kid, they used to, and that's so there's no proof. We didn't have Google back then, right? But they would say that they had the Holy Grail. Is that true? Does the Mormon Church claim they have the Holy Grail?
No.
Okay,
No,
dang it.
no.
I was hoping that was
It's
true.
mostly
That's crazy.
gold records and
You don't think they have a bunch of gold and up there bullion like they say too?
there is gold. Well, it's crazy. I told the story a few weeks ago that mine, but like the church is very interesting in its everything.
Well, yeah, for sure, dude.
But it's actually based off of original organization because it's crazy because
So
the
think about
Vatican
this,
itself
too.
also has
I got to
Oh, I'm sure
say
they do.
something about that. So
yeah.
they also have a book that was written off of tablets that aren't real. Where are they?
True.
And there's 17.8 million people that follow it. Where's their plates? But the Emerald tablets are fake.
I also think the LDS ones were fake too. So just
I'm
saying,
saying,
I think they
I'm
were
not
fake as
saying
well.
that, but that's something to think about, right?
Yeah.
So when the Emerald tablets are found or whatever again, and they will be, it's going to happen, dude. I would love to just touch them, dude. That's all I want.
Well, yeah, I just want to know
That's
that
it,
it's
yeah.
real, and then I could really kind of, I guess, get behind some of that research because, like,
Yeah.
you're right, it's honestly mind blowing for those of you who don't, if you haven't looked at any of the Emerald tablets or that information to all that kind of stuff that these guys are talking about. I've just recently dipped a toe in that pool, and like, it's pretty fascinating. And like when you actually start looking at some of the research, like the
We're talking
instructional
about
stuff.
Anunnaki.
Well, not even that, but we're talking about the
Yeah.
like the instruct, because I have always stressed, like, even if you don't want to participate in the God Jesus story, if you like could read that thing and figure out how it's telling you to live your life, for the most part, you're gonna have a pretty good life.
Yeah.
If you kind of live by those rules, like, you're gonna do okay. And so, okay, that's cool. But then when you also read these Emerald Tablets stuff, it's kind of, there's like, it's the same type of information. It's supposedly older.
Yeah.
So then you're like, well, that's
It's
interesting. And then
kind of it's
just opened-
kind of the same information.
Yeah,
So
yeah, no,
it's not
you're right.
It's
You're
a
right.
different
you're right.
way of them looking at it and
Correct.
perceiving it and understanding.
That's all.
It's
Yeah,
not
so another-
monotheism. It's not a one world God
Correct.
deal.
Yeah, no,
So
no,
a
no.
lot of
Yeah.
every religion in this world is monotheism. They believe that their God is real and the other one's not.
True.
That's what they all believe. I believe in a universal creator and the gods. So the gods are like a lowercase g. And those are beings that have gone beyond the plane of three-dimensional reality, like what we're talking about.
Or
And it kind of
archetypes.
talks about that.
science,
Sure.
just
Well,
what
and
we
they
just
take-
talked about with science.
They also talk about
right?
those are like the Rockefellers and those 8, 10 richest families in the world that rule everything. Who's to say they are not those people? Like, well, who's to say that's why they are so much better than the rest of us? Is they have
ancient tablets say that they're
Yeah, well-
that they are those people.
right? They
The
do.
Emerald tablets say it.
Yeah, that's true. Exactly. Yeah. So there
Yeah.
you go.
Not just them. The
Kinda
Sumerians say that.
The
The
Kabbalion.
Akkadians say that. The Mayans say that.
Yeah, it was a very universal. It was
Oh, man.
still of the
The
poly.
G's, the lowercase, and then they decided to like step back.
One of
So
the
I
high,
think
yeah.
I think what I
that
think
the-
happened is a lot of those very big, powerful beings. They left here.
Left just their
They
offspring
left.
or what?
Well, their time on their cycle was done here. You see what I'm saying? Because we're on a cycle of evolution. So their cycle of evolution was done here. So they left. and they left people behind that carried the same traits because they helped create us. So they could manifest and do all the same things. And over time they lost it. And you can see it through Egyptian history, at least from what I can read.
Well, and
You can see them start to lose power because they go from living from a shar, which is 3,600 years.
Yeah.
They go from ruling for 16, 50,000, 100,000 years, all the way down to 35 years.
I think that the reason why it came to
So
that,
they started to, you could see the loss of power
I
through,
think
they started to lose their connection to what.
I think
Well,
they
also that could have been the
worship
tracking
kings as
method.
gods.
It could have been like if they were tracking days in moon cycle, or like, you know, if they were tracking days differently,
Oh,
or
man,
tracking months differently,
you know
or
what
you know,
Göbekli
like
Tepe is. Have you ever heard of that? Göbekli Tepe. It's the oldest obelisks in the world, and there's a story on them.
Obelisk. Big
And they talk about the
carvings,
Anunnaki
right?
on there.
Is that what obelisks are?
They're
Big stone-
huge.
I'm not
They come
100%.
out of
oh
their
yeah, no,
huge.
obelisks.
Yeah,
They're-
obelisk, a
they're
big
pointed.
giant stone that's been
Absolutely,
carved.
yeah.
Okay. Just making sure I'm on the right.
Yeah.
They're huge. You just look it up.
Yeah.
It's the oldest place on earth.
We had a weird one
is
show
the-
up in Utah like 2 years ago in the middle of the desert.
Oh yeah, but that was an art project.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
I believe
remember that.
I believe on it. It also says that there's 13 months, 12 months, and 28 days.
Yeah, maybe.
It was another version of counting.
And if that's true, that's why our count. Cause like,
Dude,
when
you
I
can
was a
look at it through Roman history. Constantine takes out Janus, and Janus is actually the month that they're talking about. Constantine actually took that out.
Constantine was a wild. Constantine, he called together the Nicene Creed in order to establish the belief
Oh, man,
of
here
what
we go.
the church should be.
right.
He called all
Roman
of the different sects because there was
Catholic
like
Church.
a billion different, not a billion. There was hundreds of different sects of Christianity because everyone was so lost after Christ died, and so they all were separating. And then Constantine, who was the ruler of the Roman Empire, had the Western Roman Empire because it was divided into two kingdoms. The Western Empire, which was it's the Orthodox Catholic Church.
Okay.
And then there was the Roman Catholic Church.
Okay, that's the difference. I didn't
Who's-
realize that.
Yeah, and
Rome
the ruler
never
was
went
the
away,
Pope.
dude. They just turned into a religion. They literally never
That's
went
all
away.
they did. Yeah. So Constantine pulled all of these churches together and then named these two and then named the Roman Catholic Church as the head of the church following these rules. And so it made it so that it was like this huge thing where everyone voted on what God was. All of these different sects and where they came together on the things.
Sure. And so then that's when they came up with the Bible.
Yeah, that's where they compiled the original one that they said, okay, this
These are all
The Bible.
This
Do you know
is
how
all
long
the
it took to
stories we
write? Do you
have.
know how long it took to write?
No.
It took 100 AD to 900 AD. It's called the Papal Ages. That's historical facts. And then they killed 80 million indigenous tribe members, passing the Bible from island to island, from country to country
Well,
for 900
That's
years.
like-
They killed 80 million people, dude.
kind of like what the Jesuits did, where
If
they
you didn't
used
believe
God
in
to
their Bible or
enslave people.
their Bible, they were going to kill
that's
you.
what the Crusades were all about.
It
Right.
was,
Yeah. No,
dude.
that was the Crusades. I didn't, were they
Absolutely.
that long?
Oh yeah,
Was
they
that
were
that was
it?
massive,
Wow.
massive wars,
Yeah.
and crazy stuff. When you look back in history, a lot of people have done some crazy things in the name of God, claiming the
Right.
And
And then
what's
you could
crazy
always-
is they at least for me, they try. Oh, I think us as human beings, I think we like, at least for me before some things have happened that I tried to paint a picture of God being like a human being. That same picture, I really did, and I think it's how I grew up, or
Sure.
like
probably,
that,
it's
but
probably
now-
that because I've never had that. I've never pictured.
now I definitely
wanna
don't.
say
But
that.
I'm just saying, I grew up in a Christian
Hater.
house where it was LDS this, and this is what you believe. This is you're gonna go do this, and you're gonna hand out bread, and you're gonna do this, and you know what I mean. That's really
Yeah.
how it was for me, dude.
Yeah.
But now it's like, nah, it's just not what it is.
Yeah, and kind of in like the Hermetica, they refer to God as the All, is what they
The
call it.
source, the all,
And yeah, by the All they mean that
the one.
pretty much they explain God as being the energy that creates everything and is everything. Like God is in everything because God is everything, and all God is the energy or frequency of the universe almost. And that's what
It's
that's
everyone's
what God is to
perspective of
them.
The person to be.
I think God is like what he's saying. I think it's a vibrational energy passed out throughout the universe, and then
For your prayer and meditation brings idea.
you are the television set that the frequency hits because you're.
Yeah,
And
See
everyone
what I'm
has-
saying? I think that's
figure
what
out
it is.
it
I honestly
means.
do.
Everyone has a piece of it, and that's kind of what makes us work.
Yeah,
you
you're
know?
frequency 13.7. I'm frequency 13.9. He's frequency 13.6. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And then it's just broadcasted throughout the whole universe, dude. So the universe is completely saturated in soul. There is
And-
nothing that is ever going to die in the universe. It's impossible. If you believe in energy and science.
because
The
energy
only thing that
cannot be
dies is his
created
body.
or
And I don't believe
destroyed.
that your soul
Yeah.
is a part of the body that dies with the that doesn't make any
It's
sense.
impossible.
Well, I feel like it's everyone's trying,
Yeah.
trying to grasp what is beyond life. And so everybody interprets it in their own way. And that's kind of where the religions came, is they all took the same basic things that they understood and tried to break it down into a way to
that's-
like pin it down kind of, instead of
Yeah.
it being like, oh, like they tried to make it a person and make it more like connectionable, like
Yeah.
something easier to connect to, because saying that you're a part of the entire universe.
But the Bible makes
is-
it out to be that he's a jealous God.
In the Old Testament, he's very jealous.
But that's what I'm saying. So
Vengeful,
is that
wrathful.
so the creator of every subatomic particle in the whole universe, you think it's jealous of anything?
No.
I don't think that's
That's
crazy
very
to think
interesting
that.
because like it's gone through so many translations in the originals. That's an entire.
Well,
I've studied a lot.
I've chased some names back to old stuff. You know what I mean? Just the names in the Bible, and that's pretty interesting. You should.
Yeah,
did
kinda
you know-
dig
You
in-
should.
yeah.
You should chase the name. You should chase the name Yahweh.
Yahweh. Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
chase
that
that
one's a
name
fun.
back.
I've chased that one.
It'll come right back to a Sumerian name.
Yeah, and no.
And its name is
yeah.
El Nil.
And then there's
And
another
he
one. Well, it's
hates
actually because the
mankind,
early
dude.
books in the Bible.
At least in Sumerian, he hates us. He says that we are lower than the dust to him in Sumerian. We're making too much noise. We have to give him plagues. That's what he says. Where do you think the locust came? The Bible story from locust came from? It's in Sumerian, dude. I'm telling you.
Those are like
All of them
it was
are.
the ancient.
All that
ancient
stuff is
stories
Akkadian
of
or
the
Sumerian
earth
for sure.
Yeah.
that they took and they brought and they. It's so cool.
Interpreted it into
It's
a way.
awesome, dude. It
Yeah.
really is.
Yeah.
Somebody
Yeah.
wrote it down.
We're
that
never
way.
going to be able to wrap this up. We're so over time right now.
I don't think that's.
Are we
that's,
done?
that's all right.
No, I mean, I guess if everybody's okay on time, I'm still okay for a few
What
more
time
minutes.
is it?
Yeah.
I got it's 1 or 12:30. Okay, I got about 30 minutes. Let's
Dude,
just
I gotta
dig in.
pee. Real fast. All right, I'm headed out. Should I pause it? Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, no, I mean, I think that it's all just people trying to interpret. Like,
Yeah,
that's the thing that, like, I get excited about those things, and I don't look at any of them as like the truth. I think they have
they've grabbed
components
a
of
piece of it, what they can.
truth.
Well, it's just like what we're going through right now, and I hate to say it and bring this into it, but the political part of the world, there's so much information that you can't. There's none of you have the actual picture.
Yeah.
You have been able to grasp to a few facts
Mm-hmm.
that are mostly factually true, but you don't have near enough to actually make an educated decision. That is, if you have a job and a life outside
Yeah.
of doing that research.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like, yeah, you just can't do enough research to know.
yeah,
And that's the same thing on these topics. There's so much out there. You just can't, unless it's your full-time gig. And even those people get lost down rabbit holes and don't
Yeah.
come back.
It's true. It happens so easily too.
Yeah. I mean, just like he just said, then you start, well, all of a sudden we went from the Anunnaki to Yahweh, and now we're in Samaria.
yeah,
It's the original origin.
And we started on meditation.
yeah. I feel like they're all kind of down the same like
They are.
chain of
They kind of
things,
just
but
start
yeah.
going down it. And I know I've got a couple of friends of mine who are very, very devout Christians, and I love them dearly. And I mentioned some of these topics to one of them, and he just kind of shut me right down. And I was just like, you don't ever wonder about the people who originally. Like, what was their motivations? Like, that's like, I'm not saying the book is wrong. I'm just saying I want to know who originally published it and why. I want to know their motivations.
Oh.
And the more I learn, the more I'm like, I don't know that was God motivated.
Yeah. Well, and kind of that's
Yeah.
also another thing.
That's
that
what's then. And then if that happens, then you're like, well, wait a minute.
You know the story of Jonah?
Yeah.
Did you know that it's a poem? It's a poem. It was actually a poem that was included into the Bible, but it was a poem that was something for the reader to understand. So when the reader read through it, he saw a man that was challenged by God, challenged by the universe to do something, and instead chose to run away, and then was captured in the chaos of the sea and swallowed by the beast that was hiding underneath. Because when you're in the middle of chaos, it's easy to get swallowed up.
Huh?
Fast again?
Oh yeah, it did change fast.
Yeah.
Well, no, I was just asking just making a statement again, just to kind of quantify some of my ignorance on these topics. And like, we're just talking about. I started looking into who was the original publisher of the Bible, and everybody's like, "Well, God." Well, okay,
No.
chill out there.
Well,
Like,
not historically.
no. I want to know the truth.
Not historically.
Well, I know that's what I'm saying. The more I'm digging into it, the more I'm really not liking the answers.
The Council of the Nicaean.
Yeah, and
The Nicene
I asked some of my friends about this that are Christians, and they really did not want to talk about it. They did not want to indulge. They just said, nope, God wrote the Bible. And
I've
this is
been
the only
shut
thing
down
they'll
so
say.
many times talking
a
about
lot
this.
of people don't even like the fact that the letter J wasn't even a sound in mankind's history till 1540 AD. So if the Bible was written from 100 AD to 900 AD and the letter J wasn't even a sound, then what's the real name in there? What's that person's real name?
It's Yahweh. At that point, it becomes
Yeshua is
Yeshua.
actually his name. They've proven it. I mean,
Through translations
Yeah,
and through
dude,
tablets
they've
and
proven it,
texts.
dude.
Because we've
Yeah.
now like it's one of those things people are like, well, and it's interesting to me that people are still using old variations like the King James. Like we have found lots of tablets from that time to help give us more truth than what was in the old King James, and yet there's still people who are like, nope, this is the one. But that's the one that Constantine came out with, right?
yeah, that's the one that at the very end, like that's the one Shakespeare worked on. That's what's crazy.
have you ever seen that picture of
'Cause
Jesus
King
everybody has
James
hanging in their
created the
house?
Well, that's a Utah thing, bro. So
Yeah.
you have to talk about that. So the Utahns believe that Jesus was a very Anglo-Saxon, really good-looking dude, little nose, all that kind of thing,
Dude,
right?
it's used in all Catholic churches all over the
Oh,
world.
is it really? He's that
It
same
is.
way?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't
It's a
think he
picture of him. He has his hands like this. It's
Oh,
a picture of
okay.
him, dude, and he has all the spirit. Dude, it's a very well-known picture.
Okay.
That was
Not-
actually.
I thought he was talking about
that
the
was
one in the-
actually
no.
that was actually the Pope's nephew. That was a picture of
Well, they
him.
got to use a model for something. I mean, I understand that to an extent, but it's just like we can't find
Oh.
a dude that looks like he came from that part of the world.
Yeah, and the King James version came from the English, the Church of England, after King Henry. No, not King Henry. King James. I think it was either King Henry or King James. Basically, got kicked out of the Roman Catholic Church because he kept trying to divorce his wives. And then he came together. We were taught about it in school way back when. I remember it was just wild to me,
Yeah.
just like seeing where each of the different books and things disseminated from, but like there's still basic beauties that are in them. Like they still teach good principles to point towards.
So there's a book, there's a Bible that one of the most the earliest Bibles that I've even heard about. It's called the Sinai Bible.
Sinai Bible?
It's called the
Okay.
Sinai Bible. Yep. That's the earliest one that I've come to, but I still can't even get it. You won't find a copy of it. It's hard to even find.
I think the actually oldest Bible that we have
Yeah.
is literally locked inside of a box to make sure that it
Well,
does
this
not-
one has those 22 books that Constantine took out.
Oh,
Before King
those
James
are still
took
there
them
in the
out.
Gnosis.
So King James took out a whole bunch of more books too, but Constantine originally took out 22 books because it did not go along with what he was trying to do. Just like politics today,
Yeah,
Sure.
it's
they'll take you
So,
out of the media if it doesn't coincide with what they're trying to do. You know what I mean?
one of
It's
those
just what
like,
it is.
the
It's the same
Yeah.
thing,
infancy
dude.
Pull that down a little, John.
Gospel
Huh?
of Timothy.
Yeah, it's the same thing for sure.
The
I got it in my
infancy
face all the
gospel
time,
of
huh?
Thomas. Yeah,
Huh?
the infancy gospel of Thomas was one of those books, and
Oh,
then that
right.
one, Christ kills another child because he was angry, and then Mary scolds him. Well, then his parents come to scold him, and he kills them, and then Mary scolds him, and then he resurrects all of them back. And like that was one of those books. Constantine said, "Nah."
Yeah, I can't have that image.
So the
out
Book
there.
of Enoch. There's a book called the Book of Enoch.
That was another one, and that
it's
one's
the Watchers.
huge.
Yeah, it's called the Watchers, and about some.
It's referenced in Genesis.
It's
2.
about the Anunnaki, is what it's about. That's what that book is about, dude. At least in my opinion, the Watchers are.
Yeah, it's referenced in the King
Bad
James version in
demons
chapter
that come
2
down
of
here.
Genesis, and it
Yeah.
says
It's pretty good. It's a good book. It's not like it's
sons
super,
of man. Oh,
it's a
the
good
gods
one.
of the sons of
Really
God
is. It's a
came
good
down
book.
and bred with the sons of
I like
man.
it a
The
lot.
Nephilim.
The Nephilim, yeah.
I believe it happened. I believe it's real. And
Well, I mean,
the Book of Adam.
if you believe
there's a
any
book
of
called
it,
the
you
Book
have
of
to believe
Adam.
all of it. Like in my mind, if you believe any of it, you have to believe all of it. Like
Yeah,
there's a lot of
I
people who are
mean-
like, I don't know if that really happened. Well, if you believe any of it, you kind of just
Yeah.
have to like run with it, man.
yeah. And
I think a lot of us get stuck in, like I said, the material world. You know what I mean? I'm trying to get stuck in the mystical world.
Yeah, that
I
is true.
really
Everyone
am.
gets
I
kind
really
of caught
am.
up
I
in
wanna
like
be there.
what we have and what we see around us, and they're like, there can't be anything more.
But if
Um,
you truly believe that you can manifest things and create things out of the void to create something for your future or anything like that, even a disease or anything, if you believe that your energy, then you kind of have to believe you can probably cure yourself or do whatever you wanted to.
Well, the thing is
If
like,
you
if
I
you
mean,
learn
it-
how to do
control.
it, right?
Right?
Anybody can
Yeah,
do it.
sure. If you
that's
learn how to do
like
it.
kind of what we were talking about before. Like, after that last podcast, me and Brian were kind of talking, and I was telling him, and I think me and you were talking about it too. Like, they have this study on where they had people, a group of people that were like kind of the test, and they brought them in and like tested what their frequency was putting out,
Absolutely.
like what frequency they were putting out.
Did a blind test
Um,
on it. That's what they did. They did a blind placebo test on it.
Yeah, and they had them in. I don't remember what it's like, a Faraday cage, almost like blocks all of the outside frequency, and they tracked
Measured
what the
frequency.
measured
And
the
its
frequency of mind.
Authenticity was the highest one.
Yeah,
The
the
second one was love.
yeah, and frequency of authenticity was 10 times higher than than any other frequency. So being true to yourself, being the real, genuine you, is the strongest frequency that you can vibrate on.
Interesting.
And another study that
Meditation
they
is
kind of
get to
did
know
along
yourself,
those lines.
right?
Yeah, and another study that they kind of did along those lines was testing different people's frequencies. So someone who was like on a lower frequency, and then they had people on higher frequency, and they did this test with, I don't remember how many people, but it was like close to 1,000. And they started putting them in groups together in these rooms to test how the frequency is affected by someone like low frequency being with someone high frequency. And they actually found that when they put someone with a really low frequency or negative frequency with somebody with a high positive frequency, the person with the high positive frequency gave their frequency to that person until they evened out. And so the lower frequency person would feed off of the higher frequency and raise until they evened out in their frequency. And over an extended period of time of them doing that thing, it wound up that both of them ended up on a
Super
lower
low.
frequency,
Yeah.
because the
Interesting.
higher frequency person could give it to them in those handful of instances, but eventually the lower frequency person brought that higher frequency down in the other person.
Sure.
Which is kind of like a tough thing to look at, and that's why a lot of people say it really matters who you have around you.
Right.
You are
absolutely.
who you hang out with. That's why they say
Yeah,
that.
you need to have
Yeah.
high frequency people.
Yep.
Yeah, I guess that makes a lot of sense.
And that's kind of like the positive and negative. Like I feel like it's more of like what those people are focused on. Like if you're focusing on a lot of negative things and things like that, that's
Yeah.
going to pull you down. And the thing is you can break yourself of that and give yourself that higher frequency. And it's not easy, but it's possible. But
It's super. You know what I'm finding out is it's hard to break the negative autopilot.
Oh, sure it is. You get addicted to that energy.
So you got to
rush of
rewrite.
being
You
in
got
a pissy
you
mood.
got to rewrite the program, right?
Endorphins, if it's
Absolutely.
adrenaline to get you, I'm in that bad memory, and then now,
Yeah.
I got that surge.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get addicted to that.
You do.
I mean, how do you break that cycle? It's great. One more thing
Reprogram.
I got to try to
Yeah.
get off of. Great.
Right. Yeah.
I already can't take the world sober. How am I going to get off of that too?
You just got to reprogram it, man.
Yeah.
Reprogram that mind, man. Yeah, absolutely.
But
And I think you do it by going into that meditative state and
Yeah.
giving it that gratitude and that love that you're trying to.
Can we all just
Good
give
feel.
John a gold star for bringing it right back to where we started? Do you see that? You're a tremendous
Yeah.
human being for doing that. Do you even realize you did that? We went down a journey. We went to Egypt. We went to before Christ. We went to Constantine. We went to all over the place and then came right back to it is your vibration. It's your meditation. It's the people that you surround yourself with. So if you're stuck, if you are lost, if you cannot get out of a bad mood, man, you need some help. And it might be a little meditation. It might be a frequency change. You need to get
Be
away
a whole
from.
lot of meditation.
Yeah, a lot of meditation, a lot of
He
dude. Honestly,
in those meditations, man, he proves. Oh, keep going.
I was gonna say it's just that this is how this stuff kind of we've been talking about trying to help people figure these things out, man. It's nutrition, it's the energy around you. And it's hard. You do the best that you can every day. If that means that one day you ate package of Oreos and didn't
They were
meditate,
bomb.
if that's the best that you could do, well, hey, good job for you. Maybe tomorrow we try a little bit better. Right?
Dude, I almost woofed one of those Smurf cookies you had on your counter in there,
You should have.
I
I
know,
earned
I
those.
should've.
I earned those. So I
They look super bomb. Did you see them? Man, they look good.
I like
Dang.
I like clean sidewalks, and so I snow blow all my sidewalks from my house all the way up to the elementary school. I don't like my daughter walking and shoveled sidewalk. And so literally I did it all last year, and I've been doing it this year. And my neighbors started bringing over like cookies and stuff. They're like, "Hey man, thanks for always doing the sidewalks." And I was like, "Yes, it worked."
Yeah, gotcha.
But I don't
Bring
eat
those
sugar.
blue ones
I don't
over
eat
here.
sugar, and I don't eat grain. So like literally, I don't touch any of the things that they bring over. But I appreciate the living daylights out of it.
Yeah, it's just a sign of niceness, right?
It is a sign of it's a sign of love, bro. Like
is,
my
dude.
positive energy, they
Absolutely, dude.
gave it a little bit.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
manifesting it, returning
Yeah.
back.
Well, and then I noticed that I snowblowed, and there's a couple older folks on my way to the school, and I just hit their driveways and their walkways when I'm going by, and I had to go to work, and I didn't get home until late, and I was like, it snowed after I left, and somebody went out and hand shoveled the sidewalk all the way up to the school. One of those neighbors who's never done it before hand shoveled that whole sidewalk. And I was like, I honestly, like today I went on a walk and I was like, and I could tell because normally it's snowblowed and that's a different pattern in the
Yeah.
snow. And I'm like,
Yeah.
somebody shoveled this whole thing. Like that, it's the entire block.
Smooth.
Yeah, dude. Like, yeah. I was like, and it made me feel good. I
Yeah.
was like, somebody else, I couldn't make it.
Their
And somebody,
positive
they stepped up and did it. Yeah. Yeah,
Probably
dude.
got a great workout.
Yeah.
That was heavy snow.
It was
Yeah.
heavy snow.
Dang, I broke a shovel.
I had to go and walk. I ran out of fuel. I had to walk like 2 blocks to get a gas can and then go back to my snowblower. You guys hear Freddie out there?
Yeah.
So anyways, you guys, man, we just want to help folks. We're going to probably call this. We got an hour and a half of film time today. I've got us some 360 footage so you can kind of match a little bit of that. John, it's fascinating having you on the show. We get into some deep topics, quantum physics,
man.
meditation,
Good stuff.
origins of modern Christianity. I guess that's honestly what you have to call that. The origins
Yeah.
of
You know
modern
what the government
Christianity.
calls religions?
Huh.
Well, one, they call them cults,
Well, yeah.
but they call them cargo cults. That's in the dictionary, dude.
Okay, we're going to leave you on that. See you next time. Hey, you guys, if you enjoyed the podcast, if you like listen to us talk and go down rabbit holes that are unexplainable on most days, ADHD is a real way of life for us. We're doing our best to cope with it and to share it with you. Like us on social medias. We're all over the place. The ADHD Express is on YouTube, is on social, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X. Is it still Twitter? What do people call that?
It's
Does anybody
X.
use that?
It's X now. X,
X.
formerly known as Twitter.
Yeah, so give us a follow. There's some ADHD type of stuff, man. Thank you. Guys, have a great day. Thanks for coming on the show, everybody, and see ya.
Adios.
Oh. We never did that.